Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Exciting announcement for all of my listeners. I've officially opened my exclusive group, the ProjectME Passive Income Posse, to the public. This group is by application only, so we can keep the group high vibe and spend our time, energy, and expertise only helping those of you who truly want massive success and impact. You get live weekly trainings from me, special guest coaches, and direct access to me and my business partner for all of your questions. To learn more and apply, go to projectmewithtiffany.com, click on Work With Me, and select ProjectME Posse. And of course, any questions, feel free to DM me at ProjectMeWithTiffany. Welcome to the Posse and podcast, ProjectME with Tiffany Carter. So today we're talking about one of my favorite and yet least favorite topics, procrastination. Learn how to stop your procrastinating and get back your focus. We've all been there, right? Even the people who are the most diligent of us all. And a lot of you who are loyal followers, who watch my stories regularly on Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany, you know that I'm a Virgo. And many think, okay, a Virgo, someone who's, highly determined, successful, go-getter, probably doesn't procrastinate or it doesn't even happen. Wrong. Wrong. Everyone procrastinates. Even people who, for a living, talk about, being in action and they're major action takers or whatever, they procrastinate. It just might not be as much as some of the rest of us, or it might not show up all the time. They've also learned different things like I have that help me get out of procrastination. But truly, we're all just human and we all procrastinate at times. So procrastination, all it really is fear in disguise. And what I mean by that is when we peel back the layers, this is something I do with my private clients. We peel back the layers on behaviors that aren't serving them. A lot of times we do stuff all the time. We might be aware of it. We might not. A lot of times we are aware of it and we just don't know how to stop it. Maybe it's we don't know how to get ourselves motivated. We don't know why we're not making money, or every time we make money, we end up, ending up breaking even again. And it's like, how the hell is this cycle keep happening? Or how do I end up dating another person and this person ends up being a jerk or, a selfish person too? It's like, what the hell's going on? We need someone else to be able to show us our blind spots and help us reveal those blind spots. And sometimes we're aware of them and we're filled with such shame because we're like, oh my God, I know I procrastinate all the time. I know I put off doing stuff and I know I shouldn't, but yet I still do it. And I'm in this cycle and then it creates shame. And then guess what? That shame creates more procrastination and it becomes this vicious, horrible cycle. So when you peel back the layers on procrastination, it really is fear. And I have worked with thousands of people, whether it's in a group setting with big corporations, one-on-one, where when we've peeled back layers on why someone isn't doing something that they know they should do, that they know that is required to get to the goal they want to reach at, whatever it is, it could be a spiritual goal, a physical goal, a financial goal, a relationship goal, whatever it is, yet why are we not doing it? It's fear, and fear is paralyzing. And I know you guys can relate to this. I mean, fear can actually stop you in your tracks. We can see it when an animal's afraid. When most animals are afraid, they actually stop and they're frozen. Growing up in the Midwest, all right, there's and I didn't grow up in a cornfield. I grew up North Shore Chicago, but it's still suburbs. And you could be going down because they don't have like street lights everywhere, which unlike where I live now in LA. And you're going down a dark street and you see like these two eyes, like just staring, giant eyes staring at you. And you're like, what the hell? And it's a deer and it's frozen by your headlights. That's why so many deer, elk, and those kind of things end up getting hit by a car. They actually freeze. Some of them freeze in the middle of the road. Why the hell am I telling you this? I guess my point is I want you to know that instinctually, this is what happens, right? Animals do this instinctually. Humans do things instinctually as well. So we can just freeze. Have you ever had someone like catch you off guard by telling you news, like shocking news, or by like someone who's normally like nice and cool being rude to you, or someone saying something to you that's so shocking, you just like can't even speak? I know I've had it happen to me. When I'm really caught off guard, I don't react. I mean, I just freeze. I'm in such shock. So that's what happens when we are in fear, and it can happen just in our heads, and then it translates into our behavior. So when we really peel it back, let's give an example, okay? I'll use myself as an example, and then I'll use a client example. So I know I have a book in me. I know it is important for me to write a book, not for ego's sake, right? Of course, that'd be amazing to be on the best-selling list and have a publisher. Don't get me wrong, my ego would love that. But I know I have a book in me because there's a lot of people who can absorb my story in a book that will change their lives. I know that. I know it's in me. I know it needs to happen, and it really should happen soon. Yet, why haven't I really started writing the book? Do I have an idea and an outline and the stories I want to tell and how deep I want to go? I even have a title, you guys. But have I actually taken, so to speak, pen to paper, or I guess you could say fingertips to my keyboard? No, I have not. Now, how does that show up? It shows up where maybe I'll go to an event and something is prompted like, what do you dream of doing? What's your next big step? Maybe I have a friend of mine that brings something up. Maybe I see someone on Instagram that just launched their book and they're so excited about it. And then it goes in my head of, oh my God, I need to write the book. Why haven't I even started? Like, I know that everything, is started with just a step. And I'm going to get into, you guys, I'm going to give you the ABCs to get out of procrastination. And I know my ABCs of, to get back into focus. So I'm like, why haven't I done it? I know because I do this work. So I start peeling back the layers. I do some journaling. I do a lot of talking to myself, like, I don't know, hashtag only child syndrome, hashtag neglected child syndrome. I don't know, but I do a lot of talking to myself. And sometimes I'll talk it out with like a trusted friend who can hold that space for me of what's going on, right? Because we can't always figure out our own shit. When we peel back the layers, in my case, for an example, I'm afraid of what I know I need to say in the book is really going to upset my mom. And then I get confused of, is that appropriate? Is that fair to do that? Even though it's my story, is it fair to mention someone else in my story who is not going to look the greatest? Is that fair for me to do? And then I get stuck there. And meaning stuck is I don't take action. So, and you know what? I had a friend, and forgive me for not knowing which friend said this. So if one of my friends better listen to this damn show. But anyway, if you're listening, DM me and go, hey girl, I was that friend. But I was told, why don't you just write the book anyway? You don't have to put it out there. You don't even have to tell anybody that you're writing it. And then once you've written it and it's done, then you can make the choice if it's fair and always have some edits done or a rewrite. Well, gee, what a fucking brilliant idea that is. Never thought about that. I would have never thought about that on my own. Again, why it's so important to where you share this, whether it's with a coach like myself or you share it with a trusted friend who truly has the bandwidth and capacity to be able to get you to open up and share with you. Most people don't have all those kinds of friends in their lives. I didn't until very recently. When I say very recently, I'm saying like a couple years. So that's my example. I also will give you a quick example of one of my private clients, and it showed up much differently. It was more of a fear of success. And I can't give too much detail because obviously this is confidential, but she has an amazing company, an amazing product, stands for amazing things, yet she was resisting putting a video marketing piece together. And this is for what she does. First off, video marketing has to be done, period. Okay. That's like the highest converting thing, but that's another episode. But specifically for what she does, she needed to put together this video piece. Now, it didn't have to be some masterpiece. I already told her that. In fact, I wanted it to be more homespun, where it doesn't look like it's some high production quality thing. So she totally had the skill set to do it, yet kept resisting it, and then came up with stories. Well, I'm waiting for this, and I want to wait for this time. And there was always an excuse. That's a telltale sign to me that there's fear there. There's resistance there. So there's always a story. We can be clever and make up so many things to ourselves. It's unbelievable. So I go, okay, hold on, stop the presses. We need to look at this. I'm telling you something that is key, from a marketing expert perspective. Like, I know this will work. This will work. This has to be done for the line of business you're in, the type of product you're in, yet you keep resisting it. What's going on? You have the skill set. So we peeled back the layers. And it wasn't like this happened in 5 minutes. It was probably an hour, which is why I don't limit the length of time of my coaching calls. Some of my coaching calls go 2.5 hours. We do whatever the hell we have to do to get the result, you guys. And what we peeled back is she knew that once she did that video and really put it out there, that she was going to blow up, like in a good way. And she was actually had fear of her success because she knew once she really blew up, she couldn't hide anymore. And her way of protecting herself her entire life from being bullied, from having, abusive parents, was by hiding, like shutting the door and hiding in her room, which I totally can relate to. I was someone who hid, but I hid in plain sight. So it was a little different, but she actually really hid. And she's like, I can't hide anymore. Once I, really open this up, there's no going back. So I wanted to share a couple stories so you guys can see if you see yourselves in any of those. And you can take a look of where stuff like that is showing up in your life. It might be a goal for fitness. It might be a goal for anxiety relief. It might be a relationship goal. It might be a financial goal, a business goal, whatever it is. When you start having a lot of excuses, even if they sound pretty fucking reasonable, our brains are so smart. So I don't want to say, oh, well, there's reasonable and unreasonable things you can say. No, if you just have a lot of different stories that you're spinning about it, like, okay, well, I'm really busy with the kids right now. I can do it once, my kids are all in school. It sounds reasonable, right? But it's just a story because you'll come up with another one later. So let's get to the ABCs to get out of procrastination. I can't remember if I said avoid procrastination earlier. If I did, scratch that. There is no avoiding procrastination. You are going to procrastinate or start down that path at a gazillion points in your life. Some people less than others. You practice my ABCs of getting back into focus. You can actually flip yourself out of procrastination really quickly. Sometimes for me, it's still a full day that it can happen. Sometimes it's a couple hours. So it does get better. I mean, that's a lot better than when it used to be a week or a month, right? But then there's some bigger things in your life, like how I was sharing, with the book, right? There's some that are going to take more work, but you can start on smaller things, right? You can start on some of those smaller things you procrastinate on in your life that you need to do. So the ABCs of getting back into focus. So the A is acceptance and awareness. So you need to first have a level of awareness that you are procrastinating. And if you are listening to this and going, I don't procrastinate, I'm on top of everything, I'm a type A, well, that's not that. I wouldn't buy that for a second. That's not possible, right? You're in your ego. You're in your brain has taken over. You are possessed. It's not possible. Everyone does to a certain point. You might be doing so many tasks as a way to be avoiding dealing with something else that's far more important with you. Let that sink in for a second. You might be doing all the things, taking care of all the people, pureeing your own organic baby food. And using cloth diapers. No offense, but I don't even know what to say about that. Anyway, but you could be doing all those things, but you're doing them as a tricky way to procrastinate on maybe taking care of your own health, on taking care of a relationship that you need to have healed with your sister or your brother or your spouse or your best friend. You see what I'm saying? It's really tricky. So you need to have awareness. What I would say here is you can't do this alone. You can't find awareness alone. Our brains are far too cunning and tricky. So you need to see if you have a friend in your life that you can have a conversation with and say, listen, I'm working on finding hidden areas in my life where I may be procrastinating. Listen, here's a hint. You're procrastinating and putting off something if you're not happy where your life's at, whether it's financially, romantically, your body, whatever. There's your damn hint right there. So whether it's a therapist, a trusted friend, or you need to hire someone. So you need to reach out. You can reach out to me and do a 90-minute intensive session with me. You can apply to work with me one-on-one for 2 months. But you need to work with somebody who is capable of holding the space and able to ask you questions that you feel comfortable with to help you get to that level of awareness. Once you have that level of awareness, because some of you listening are like, oh, girl, I know where I procrastinate. Like, I'm a freaking hot mess. I know I'm not taking great care of myself, yet I keep putting it off. A lot, or, my finances are a disaster. I've always wanted to start a company, or I'm in a network marketing business and I'll be into it for 2 weeks and then I don't do anything. It's pure insanity. So for those of you who actually know, awesome, you have the awareness. Now you need to be in acceptance. Admit to yourself, say, this is what I'm doing. I want you to state it out loud. And I would ideally like for you to write it down, state it and say, basically it's like, Tiffany, admit, I admit, I see what I'm doing. I am putting off, I am procrastinating on achieving my goals in these areas. And these are the excuses I give in order to not take action towards my goals. Take full accountability. So awareness, acceptance, accountability. You're admitting it to yourself. Ideally, again, I would want you to admit this to another trusted person, but not all of us have that person in our lives. Like I said, most of my life, I really didn't. And that's why I tell people, it's always good to, get a therapist or to hire a coach or something like that. Because sometimes our friends, friends or spouses, whatever, they're dealing with their own shit. And so they don't have maybe the space, time, and capacity to work with you on this. But maybe you do have someone that will. All right. So you want to go down that path. That's the A and the ABC. The B is baby steps. You guys, you don't have to swing from one end of the pendulum to the next. This is where failure occurs and self-sabotage I see occur. Okay, let's use, I love analogies. Let's use the gym. Okay. Now it's summer. Depending on when you're listening to this, but this is I think it's a June or July episode. So it's summer. You're like, I want to look better for summer. People are feeling better because it's nice outside. You're wearing a tank top. You're like, my arms look like shit, whatever it is. It's like, I'm not going to eat carbs all week, or I'm going to just have protein shakes for dinner, or whatever it is. And you get really into it for a week, maybe at most 2. And then it all blows up because you swung the pendulum too far the other way. And then starts the cycle of shame. It's like, I never stick with anything. I'm a piece of shit. Why can all these other people stick with stuff and I can't? And now we go round and round the insanity loop again for all infinity. No, no, and no. I want you guys to take baby steps. Slow and steady wins the race. Fast and furious takes you to burnout. Fast and furious gets nowhere. It looks like someone's really getting somewhere on the outside. You might know these types of people in your life, at school, in Instagram, at work, whatever. And it might look really good. They will burn out in their time. I'm not wishing ill on them, but they will. Guess what? I was one of those people where you would have been like, oh my God, she has her shit so together. She does all the things all the time, until I crashed and burned and almost died. Thank you. So I'd rather you guys take baby steps. And when I say baby steps, let's give an example for the book thing I was saying for me. How about a baby step be, why don't I just do a rough outline and title each chapter? That's all. It doesn't have to be set in stone or perfect, right? Because perfectionism leads to procrastination. So just a rough outline. I like putting a lot of words in there that tell our brain, it's okay. It's just rough. A first draft, rough draft. Let's experiment, right? We don't need to get it right off the bat. How about just an outline? That's all we have to do today. Well, that's a baby step. That's a small enough task that our brain can wrap around, and you can set a timer. It's another thing I do is time blocking. Set a timer. Let's spend 20 minutes just doing the outline. And if we only get halfway through, that's okay. Just 20 minutes. Can you commit to that for 20 minutes? I mean, these are the conversations I have with myself. Maybe your baby step is just walk for 15 minutes a day. That's it. You're not going to do anything else. You're just going to walk. One day at a time, you're just going to walk. I don't even care if you eat pizza later. You're just going to walk. You're just going to start. That's what I mean by baby steps. In terms of, let's say, your business. Maybe you research. I'm going to make a list of the key things I need to research and learn in order to achieve this goal of this business I want to create. Okay. So what can you commit to doing today where you just research this one thing? And then tomorrow you research the second thing. And the next day you research the third thing. That's it. And you can set a timer and allow yourself 30 minutes to research, 15 minutes to research. The nice thing is when you use a timer, especially when you're researching stuff, and sometimes research leads us to social media and YouTube, you don't get down the wormhole because there's a timer going. So you're being accountable to the timer. So that's what really helps. So just baby steps, slow down. No one is chasing you. Everything is working out in divine timing anyway. So you thinking you have to go fast and furious because you're so behind and you have a friend and she's already making all this money or he's already doing all the things or whatever it is. That's their path and their timing. And I know it sounds kind of morbid to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. We have no idea how long that person's going to be here on earth. God forbid, they could be taken by cancer, a car accident. We don't know what someone's path is. They could have a nervous breakdown. They could 5 years from now end up having a kid with autism and they're not able to really focus on work anymore. And thank God they worked those years prior because now they have a savings account and residual income and passive income coming in that lets them stay at home with their special needs child. Do you see what I'm saying? We have no freaking idea, right? We have no idea what someone's path is. In fact, we really don't even know ours. All we know is we have today, we have this moment. So stop feeling like we've got to rush. that also causes self-sabotage, that causes perfectionism, that causes a big crashing ending into procrastination, because you end up burning out, getting overwhelmed, getting paralyzed in fear, frozen in analysis paralysis, and I don't want that for you. So baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. Ask yourself every day, what is a baby step towards my goal, whatever your goal is, okay? What is a baby step that I can do today? Period. End of story. Don't write some crazy long list. It's one thing. You do one thing 7 days a week. That's 7 fucking things you've done in a week. That's 7 more things than you've probably done at all in the last God knows how many months or years towards your freaking dream. I guarantee it. All right. Last thing is the C in the ABCs. It is called contrary action. So if you want different results in your life and you want different things in your life, you want to have more money, you want to have a better relationship, you want to have more, authentic, real, loving friends, you want to have more energy and a fitter body and feel good about yourself, you want to lessen your anxiety, whatever it is, you have to take contrary action to get contrary results. So what you've been doing all along has been leading you to results you don't like. So now you've got to do the damn opposite. It's that simple when I say it. It is, what's challenging is to program yourself and push yourself to do the contrary action because you've become so used to doing it one way, but that one way isn't yielding the results you want. So you've got to do the opposite. So what I'll ask myself is, let's say my brain goes to, yeah, I know I even said on this podcast that I was going to do a baby step of doing the outline for my book. And I do have, 20 minutes today to do that. But it's so beautiful outside and I just want to go for a walk outside. Maybe I'll sit in the sun for a little bit and get inspired. Oh my God, I forgot I have to do my laundry. Oh, my sock drawer needs to be reorganized. By the way, I've done that before. Thank you. Oh, now I'm hungry. Oh, I don't have what I want in the house. I need to go to the grocery store, right? You see how quickly I have now gotten away from just a simple 20-minute baby step of doing the outline. So when I start down that path, right? And listen, I can now recognize it. But in the beginning, I couldn't. I had to have people who helped keep me accountable. And I still have people who help keep me accountable to this day. But what I do is I go, okay, hold on. Is this what I've always done? The answer is going to be yes. This is what you always do, Tiffany. You always find other tasks and other things that seem like they're more important than the very thing that you deeply desire. Okay. So what's the contrary action to what I've always done? Okay, well, the contrary action would just be like, nope, you're going to do it. You're just going to do the 20 minutes. After the 20 minutes is done, you can organize that sock drawer you want, but you're going to put your dreams first. You're going to put your goals first. You're going to set the timer and you're just going to do it. That's the contrary action. Because what happens is if you just give in to what you've always done, you're going to be in that same loop, because now 3 hours from now, you're going to know in the back of your head, you're going to know I didn't do the thing. I didn't do the outline. I didn't do the research. I didn't do the thing. And then starts the shame cycle. You go into this back in the low vibe state. God, I never get anything done. I hate that I'm like this. I know I should have done it. I know I avoided it. I know I got these other things done, but another day's gone by and I didn't do it. And in starts this horrible shame cycle that leads to more procrastination and insanity. So you've got to take contrary action if you want contrary results. And you're not going to probably like a lot of those at first, because the reason you've been in this pattern of doing all the things is because it's more comfortable. It's a lot easier to go to the grocery store, do laundry, organize a sock drawer, and go sit in the sun than it is for me to focus and use brain power and energy to writing an outline for a book that I have fear around, right? Or or then making those, 3 or 4 sales calls, whatever you guys want to use in terms of sales, like 3 or 4 sales calls to get more people on your team, or to write, to batch your content for social media, right? It's a lot easier to do, as I call dumb tasks, that have no emotional tie to it. You don't have an emotional tie to your fucking laundry, to, food prepping, to sitting in the sun, to organizing sock drawers, right? But you have an emotional tie to your goals, your dreams, and your vision. And it can be a lot easier to avoid them, but it really isn't. It just creates shame and insanity, and you never reach your goals. So let me know if you loved hearing and learning about the ABCs to get back into focus after you started down that, you jumped aboard that procrastination train. I would really love it, you guys, if you could leave me a 5-star written iTunes review. Even if you're listening on Google Play or something else right now, all you have to do is look up ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast on iTunes. And that written review, you guys, will go a really long way. That's how we can keep the show going. That's how iTunes rewards you, basically. You can have, which I do, thousands and thousands and thousands of unique downloads, but how they actually reward you and put a stamp on it, like, this is a good show, we should show people, is by your number of written 5-star iTunes reviews. So if you really love the show, please take 90 seconds and do that to me. I would super, super appreciate it. And you guys, as always, wishing you great health, wealth, and worth. Talk to you soon. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.